All-girl drum and bugle corps. This is the Ventures. They are the world champion all-female drum and bugle corps, and they've won the U.S. Open this past year. They've won the Canadian Nationals and, of course, the world title. The band director here, David Phillips. The drum major is Tanya Sanders. 65 marching members, and they are good.
Oktoberfest himself. His name is Uncle Hans, and the word that you hear is Gemütlichkeit. I apologize to those of you who are German for my pronunciation.
We've been practicing for days.
Been trying. Gemütlichkeit means friendship. It means fellowship. It is truly the spirit of Oktoberfest. And Uncle Hans appears at many charity organizations and events, and he's shaking hands with children or doing the bird dance with tourists or visiting old folks' homes. Uncle Hans. And of course, there's a better half. Her name is Tante Frida.
We'll see her a little later. Uncle Hans, created by a local gentleman, Rick Warshin, now head of the art department at CKCO Television. And the president of Kitchener-Waterloo Oktoberfest, Carol Sherman. In her 18 years as an Oktoberfest volunteer, Carol has chaired many committees. She's now the boss, and she has these words for us on Thanksgiving Day.
Welcome to Canada's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We are happy to share with you our spirit of Gemütlichkeit, and we welcome you to Kitchener-Waterloo, home of the largest Bavarian festival in North America.
Looks like something from the movie Batman, if you happen to see it. This is a 30-foot high panda bear, definitely worth taking a picture of. It took 6 to 8 tanks of helium to fill this gentleman up. 2 hours to inflate, and then 12 people to operate. Each operator attends a 1-hour training session. This is all courtesy of Ontario's finest photo finisher, Spectrum Photo.
And look at this maneuvers. They come under the telephone wires.
They've had to practice for this one.
Well, the pandas, of course, have been very popular in many parts around the world, as the real thing has been visiting Calgary and Toronto, a couple of cities in Canada. The panda bear certainly seems to strike chords in people.
The panda bear is brought to you by the good folks at Spectrum Photo. Makes a perfect picture. And bienvenue, Bonhomme, from Oktoberfest. Perched on a whimsical sleigh, he's here to invite everyone to the Quebec Winter Carnival, which takes place from February 1st to the 11th of 1990. Bonhomme, the beloved symbol and official ambassador of Carnival, recently traveled as far as Hong Kong and Bordeaux, inviting people to join him for Quebec's joyous winter celebration. The float was created by the Carnival Workshop, which is known for its superb work.
If you've never been to this carnival, it is one magnificent time. Quebec City, one of my favorite places to visit. I've been there many times in the wintertime. The carnival is something else.
The German Air Force Band 2 from Karlsruhe in Germany. The band director is Lieutenant Colonel Ben Faber. Drum major is Mr. Walter Yeckel. There are 60 members. And last year when Helmut Kohl was in Toronto for the Economic Summit, he decided that the German Air Force Band 2 should be part of Oktoberfest, and here they are.
Here's our parade grand marshal. Gentlemen, we had dinner with last night. Had a lot of fun. He's a member of the Order of Canada, Dave Broadfoot. Certainly one of the funniest men in this country, and has been for a long, long time. Has won many awards, including 13 actors for writing and performing. He's a terrific gentleman. He is the parade marshal.
A dramatic space age theme for 1989 from the War Amps. It features an 8-foot replica of Astar, the association's gold robotics safety symbol. His home is a moonlight planet called Danger, apparently littered with fragments of wire and menacing machinery. And 6 members of CHAMP, the War Amp Child Amputee Program, are with him, reminding children everywhere to play it safe.
Time again to strike up the band. This time from the Royal Airs, the Big White. They're from Guelph, Ontario. 65 marching members under the direction of band director Albert Strasburger. Alan Smythe and Doug Green are the drum majors. And in last year's Grey Cup parade, the Royal Airs were named the winning band. This is one of the oldest drum corps on the continent. They performed as a senior drum corps for over 50 years.
I'm proud to represent the great state of colorful Colorado, and I was very honored to be chosen this Oktoberfest this year. I would like to wish all of Canada a very happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Well, if you go down to the woods today, Johnson & Johnson has a big surprise for you. This is the day the teddy bears have their picnic, and what fun it is. Big picnic basket pulls the float as the kids frolic around a huge stuffed bear, and each child on this float is a relative of an employee at Johnson & Johnson. And here's an old pal of mine. This is Brad Park. Hockey fans will recognize him. He's with the Hostess Frito-Lay float today. Hostess Cup, of course, is the hockey championship for Pee Wee players, hosted by the city of Ottawa. It's in Cornwall later this year. He's the official spokesperson and color commentator. And Hostess Frito-Lay, one of the co-sponsors of the on-street parade. Excuse me a sec, I got to say hello to Brad. We're expected to go up to about 12 degrees Celsius today. It is overcast and a little breezy. Staying warm, of course, is always a concern.
This is His Worship Mayor Dominic Cardillo of Kitchener. He's been mayor since 1983, a former high school teacher, married with 6 children, and a man with a good sense of humor, they tell me. His last public appearance, he said, and I quote, "This is not an election year, so I'm not making any speeches." He got off the stage. This is a miniature of King Ludwig's castle. This is the focal point of the festival, information central for Oktoberfest visitors. Now, there's an interesting story behind this. It was in the Ludwig family that there was a Prince Ludwig, and it was his wedding celebrations back in 1812 that actually began Oktoberfest. The fighting is rather appropriate because the Prince Ludwig was in the army at the time, and it was his fellow officers that decided to throw this special event, and that's how Oktoberfest is reputed to have started.
I wonder how they decide who wins the fight each time, because they go at it along this entire parade route for 2 hours.
The one who's standing up at the end of the route, Dan, he wins.
Oktoberfest Singing Steins. Weaver, Tanner, and Miller proud to present this float and the Singing Steins. It's hard not to sing along with these jolly fellows if you happen to know the words, because they are mouthing the words to authentic Bavarian songs.
This type of animation was perfected by the Disney Studios. They have a wonderful name for it. This is called audio animatronics. Basically, it means the mouths move up and down in time to the music.
Well, another definition I have is computerized synchronization of music in animation, which probably makes as much sense.
Still means the mouths move up and down.
That's right. They're lip-syncing these nights.
And now the Stadacona Band of Maritime Command from the Canadian Forces Base in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The band director, Lieutenant Jim Ford. The drum major, Petty Officer 2nd Class M. Smith. There are 45 members of this wonderful band. The Stadacona Band, established in Halifax, Nova Scotia in 1940, performs some 200 engagements a year playing Heart of Oak.
Cutting wood and drawing water around a quaint little cottage deep in the Bavarian woods. The 4 German-Canadian clubs of Kitchener-Waterloo shared the cost and construction of this float. Even the children busy making the paper leaves, and surrounding the float are members of the clubs, each dressed in the Tracht, traditional costumes of their particular area.
These fabulous horses are Belgian draft horses. They each weigh in at over 1 ton. The 4 of them are pulling Thomas Pennell's Highland Hitch, representing Highland Seeds, which is a division of W.G. Thompson & Sons Limited of Belém. The Cherry Show Wagon was built by Bayfield Wagon and Carriage Works. A most beautiful hand carving on each side. Carvings that took over 500 man-hours to complete. Look at the size of those horses. They're fabulous. You can see when I said the other ones were kind of broad and small. They're about half the size of these, the Hoflingers, and these are the Belgian draft horses. A beautiful team of 6 matched horses.
The carvings are gorgeous, too. This is one of those occasions when I'm sure the television camera cannot do justice. You see them on the side there of the carriage. Well, now we have John Brunner. He is the president of the Transylvania Club. More than 800 years ago, the ancestors of many of the members of the Transylvania Club emigrated to the province of Transylvania in Romania. It can take hundreds of hours to create these wonderful hand-embroidered costumes. It's the Oktoberfest parade. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Athletics, from the first lessons at home through graduation, the float from the County Board of Education features all aspects of education. They have a torch of learning, which is the shining light that all students try to follow, and it's followed by the little one-room schoolhouse to remind us of what education was like in the old days and in the early days of a little town called Berlin, which grew up to become Kitchener-Waterloo. And then in a rather futuristic, symbolic way, they have a window on the future at the tail end of their float. A window on the future built by the staff and students throughout the school system at the Waterloo County Board of Education. You aren't going to find many better marching bands than the Scarlet Brigade from Windsor, Ontario. This band has the distinction of winning National Band Championship honors 5 years in a row. One of the very few bands that gets invited back to the Rose Bowl parade. Under the direction of Terry Murphy, Chuck Hunter is the drum major. We've got a little 007 music for you.
Catherine's the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival. We have two happy people on this float. We have the king of the festival, Mr. John Watson, and his queen, Janice Gardner. The king is chosen by a panel of horticulture experts for the quality of the grapes that he produces. We've been lucky with the weather here this morning. We've been promised some sunshine. I haven't seen it quite yet, but there is no rain, no snow, and it's kind of warm enough if you move around just a little bit.
Well, it's a seasonal October day. Niagara Grape Festival, of course, won't steal the thunder from hops and barley, for which Oktoberfest is more rightly noted.
Well, I told you about the Queen and I told you about the King, and there's the unknown Prince.
From Frankenmuth, willkommen to the Bavarian Princess Cynthia Baines and the members of her court. This pretty summer garden scene represents a unique community with an old-fashioned Bavarian flavor. Frankenmuth is Michigan's top visitor attraction. Welcomes over 3 million guests annually. And we have the 1989 Frankenmuth Bavarian Princess on board. And this float coming to us courtesy of the Frankenmuth Chamber of Commerce.
President of the Alpine Club, Mr. Helmut Harold. The original members of the Alpine Club came from the southern border between Austria and Yugoslavia. Their tracht, or traditional costumes, are blue and white.
And there's his worship, Mayor Brian Turnbull of Waterloo. This is his first year in the Oktoberfest parade. I hope he's dressed for it. As co-host of the festival, of course, the Twin Cities of Kitchener-Waterloo. He's a veteran of City Council and was elected mayor just last November. So he's a bit of a rookie to the parade and municipal government. What is your first impression of Oktoberfest? Like a Rorschach ink blot test, one of the very first things that comes to mind is Oompah music. This is Oompah in the Park, presented by the City of Waterloo. It is Oktoberfest entertainment with the Beardo Brothers. And this is
the
a rather...
Beardo?
Yeah. Well, it's spelled like weirdo with a B on the front, so you can make of that what you will. But they are all employees from the City of Waterloo. And the float decorated with 75 potted flower arrangements, an indication of the interest the citizens of Waterloo show in even the smallest of parks.
The Top Hats Marching Orchestra from Burlington, Ontario, with drum major Neil Sinclair, band director Robert Webb, 50 members. And here comes the Mickey Mouse March.
From people clad in tuxedos?
Yes, they were formed in 1982. The Top Hats come from all walks of life. They include lawyers, doctors, police officers, and believe it or not, an economist. They perform for the best reason there is, because they enjoy it. The fellow at the front's obviously a president of a trust company or bank, looks to me. They like to dance.
Called the Spirit of Excellence, courtesy Canada Post Corporation, sporting new corporate graphics. This float, with its swirl of letters, shows us the many ways mail comes and goes to your house from around the world. Was the year we first saw this Model T Ford on the road, and painted in the orange and blue, it was used as a commercial vehicle by J.M. Schneider Incorporated. And just behind is the J.M. Schneider float. It is called a tradition for tomorrow. It lives up to Schneider's reputation for beautiful floats. The people portraying the changes in lifestyles on board this float since the 1890s are members of the Schneider family, J.M.'s great-grandchildren, together with Schneider's employees and their families. This float designed especially for the company's centenary by members of the art department. It was built over a 7-month period, so it took a little while with the help of employees from fleet maintenance and from engineering. Schneider is celebrating 100 years in business. Schneider's along, of course, with hostess Frito-Lay, the two on-street sponsors.
They use a lot of sausage here, huh, Dan? How much sausage do they use?
Well, I've sampled a little bit myself.
Well, apparently they tell us they have enough sausage to stretch from here to New York City, enough mustard if you painted a yellow line to go from here to Hamilton, Ontario, and enough pigtails from here to Windsor, and 30 acres of sauerkraut.
How deep is the sauerkraut?
You know what? 6 to 8 inches, Dan. I don't know.
And to make it a triple play for Schneider's, this is a 1931 Model A Ford Deluxe delivery truck. May have driven up to, well, no, not my door, but maybe some of you watching today. This truck, an original of the type used by the company during the 30s, has been restored at the company's art department by Floyd Schmidt of Kitchener. It took him over 7 months to restore the truck to this condition.
Children are the future. Hard to argue with that premise, and that is the premise of the Equitable Life float. There's some delightful children on the float. They're little rabbit friends. You can see him peeking out of a little hole somewhere on the float. The float was built by Armatech Industries, float builders of children. And the theme, children are the future. There he is, the little rabbit.
Well, he's in and out of the picture. Well, everybody loves a parade, but no one more than children. And we have thousands of children along the parade route today, all bundled up in their toques and their hats, their scarves, and most of them have their winter clothes on. I see some snow pants along the snow route today, and the kids are loving this.
Yeah, it's not really that cold. It's just that when you sit here for this long, it gets that cold.
Well, you've got to protect your spot along the route. Ah, what is that sound we hear way off in the distance? It is the skirl of pipes, and being 3/4 Scottish myself, that does stir my blood somewhat.
These are the pipes of the Ontario Mass Legion, pipes and drums, laddie. They're from Toronto.
Major Ross Baxter was the man. He organized 7 different pipe bands into the Ontario Mass Legion pipe and drums. And he is still the senior pipe major. Len Coupland is the drum major. 125 members strong. And we are to hear 100 pipers and Bonnie Dundee. Let's listen.
retired just a little bit today after yesterday's game, but he's still with us. Dober is the animated turtle and the official mascot of the Sky Dome.
Well, that must be why he's holding a football, because that team is still in contention.
That's right. There was a baseball in the other game, but we took it out for the break. He is the mascot for obvious reasons. The turtle can retract under shell when the weather gets nasty. The Jays and the Argos logos represent the teams that play in the dome. The giant guitar and trumpet, the musical groups will perform there. And the giant champagne bottle celebrates the opening of this incredible facility, the Sky Dome.
They're probably saving that champagne bottle for its first championship, too.
I hope they like old champagne, because the way we're going, it's going to be old.
Yes, you can hear that sound now, can't you? Argos.
The Mutual Group continues its long involvement in the Oktoberfest parade with a colorful and imaginative float. Look at the animation. A cuddly puppy doing his best to make friends with a very bashful turtle, giving him a little kiss. And then you can watch the turtle retract into its shell while forest critters pop up from their underground homes to look for him. Let's all be friends, says the Mutual Group. A nice thought from the people at Mutual on this Thanksgiving Day.
I wonder if that's Domer's relative.
It's Mrs. Domer.
From Kitchener-Waterloo, it's the Oktoberfest night.
A time to celebrate with old friends and you. To learn to polka. To munch on tasty German food. And enjoy a tent full of entertainment Bavarian style. Oktoberfest is a time to show the kids a whole new culture. Treat them to an afternoon of endless fun and a chance to dress up and dance with Dad.
We have the keg tap.
From the time the first keg is tapped till the moment when the last sweet notes of Auf Wiedersehen fade away into the night, Oktoberfest in Kitchener-Waterloo ist wunderbar.
A huge marching band, 220 members of the Burlington Teen Tour Band, the Redcoats from Burlington. Drum major Kathy Carr, band director Don Allen, and you are about to hear Army of the Nile.
On 3 occasions, the Redcoats have competed in the very prestigious Parade of Champions in Philadelphia. You know this band is the real thing. They won the top prize each time. We've seen Uncle Hans. He's been around Oktoberfest for a while and is the official symbol of the week-and-a-half-long celebration of all things Bavarian. And, 3 years ago, they decided that Uncle Hans needed a friend. And so here she is. This is Tante Frida, hoping you are all enjoying the spirit of Gemütlichkeit, developed in '85 to accompany the official symbol. Inflatable nylon balloon rises 24 feet up in the air, very colorful, and is an exact color replica of the original design. She is floating on a snowmobile trailer, but the hot air is helping to keep her up. And then here's Mary Hushka, the president of the Concordia Club, along with the Concordia Club Marchers. It is the oldest and largest German-Canadian club in the area. The Concordia began with a male choir in 1873. That's when Kitchener was not Kitchener, but a rather small town called Berlin. In celebration of Canada's centennial, the Concordia invited the community at large to an Oktoberfest celebration, and 2 years later, it was in 1969, that the Kitchener Visitor and Convention Bureau expanded on that idea, and the Kitchener-Waterloo Oktoberfest, as we know it, was born, 1969.
The Rose City Snow Seekers celebrate their home city of Welland's Rose Festival. The float, designed and built by club members, features 15,000 handmade flowers in its snowmobiling scene. Now, this float was the winner of Best Parade Float, Best Club Float, and Best Theme Float in the Welland Rose Parade.
Many roses left in your garden, Deanie?
Not many.
No, even my geraniums are gone now. It's beautiful, isn't it?
They really have done a fabulous job. We're now bringing you one of the best drum and bugle corps in this country, the North Star Youth Organization, composed of the Dutch Boy Drum and Bugle Corps and the cadets of the Dutch Boy Drum and Bugle Corps. It's from Kitchener. The drum majors are Jim Allen and David Dosworth. The band director is Albert de Croce. There are 120 members, and here it is, the Beer Barrel Polka. Again.
You will hear the Beer Barrel Polka just about anywhere, anytime throughout the 9 days of Oktoberfest. Founded in 1931 to keep the Danube Schwaben heritage alive. The Schwaben Club is one of the larger German clubs in the area. And here we have Steve Yock. He's the club president. The men's hats made of the finest fabrics, traditionally decorated by their best lady friends.
A little tired. This beautiful child, well, I won't know, and this child will know our next float. Lots of children do, yes, it is. It's Doobie.
Oh, and Miss Fran.
Miss Fran, Doobie, and Paddington Bear from Romper Room. Host Fran Papert is celebrating her 11th season with Romper Room and Friends. As every mother knows, this is a daily show for preschoolers. It's produced right here in Kitchener at CKCO for the CTV network, a very popular show. And among the highlights of the show this year will be visits by Miss Fran Duby and Paddington Bear to Victoria and Vancouver.
Elmer's got the good ears. Dressed in RMC's traditional scarlet dress uniform, the band of the Royal Military College from Kingston, Ontario, captured first place in last year's Grey Cup Parade and the 1987 Oktoberfest Parade. They're under the direction of Major Tom Dressel. Warrant Officer Mike Steele is the drum major. 80 members from RMC, and this is Piping Hot. The 80 members are, without exception, all members of RMC. And this is Chris Huff. He is the president of the German-Canadian Hunting and Fishing Club. Now, many new Canadians in the 50s were spending their leisure time hunting and fishing, and so in 1954, a group of 10 men in this city, in Kitchener, founded the German-Canadian Hunting and Fishing Club. Met for the first several years in members' homes, now located in a rather intimate club in a beautiful rural property. The members also organize many traditional social events.
This is the Rose City. The float displays the bounties of the Peninsula harvest. Wine grapes, the nectar of the gods. Rose City is not only famous for its roses, but for its fine wine grapes as well.
If you're old enough, you'll remember Louie Louie. I believe it was the Kingsmen did it first. Maybe the Beach Boys had a big hit with it too.
I'm not old enough.
No, well, Deanie's not, of course, but I do recall, I may have been 3 or 4 at the time. Hey, here's a band from out of town. These are the Port Huron High School marching band members from Port Huron, Michigan. 120 members under the direction of Robert Clark. Nora Anderson is the drum major. They call themselves the Big Red, and today the Big Red is marching down Main Street, Kitchener, making its 3rd appearance in the Oktoberfest Thanksgiving Day Parade. Well, a little rock and roll goes a long way with the young fans, that's for sure. We told you you'd hear all kinds today. Now the Trooper Salute.
4 judges in the parade. Here are the first 2. Vicki Keith, who was last year's parade marshal, is back with us again this year as a judge. Vicki, who was named Athlete of the Year in 1988, has dedicated herself to raising money for worthy causes and is currently raising funds for the Variety Village Aquatic Wing of Scarborough Hospital. Her favorite stroke is the butterfly, and her longest marathon swim, an unbelievable 129 hours. With Vicki is one of the country's best-known and best-loved artists, Mr. Ken Danby. His work has been exhibited across Canada, the U.S., Germany, and Switzerland, and has been featured on the cover of Time magazine.
Hey,
He is
Vicky's
also
just spotted us.
the designer of Canada's Olympic Coin Series 3. We spent a wonderful evening with Vicki the other night. Our next 2 judges, Mr. Gary Buck and Mr. Denny Doherty. Now, Denny, you'll remember as the one of the singers. He's the gentleman with the beard. One of the singers from the group, the Mamas and the Papas. And we're all old enough to remember that one. His television, film, and radio credits include The Denny Show, Street Legal, The Bob McLean Show, and Getting to Work. An accomplished stage actor, he recently appeared in the Toronto production of Fire. And with him is Mr. Gary Buck. Gary's music career spans more than 2 decades as a singer and performer, songwriter, producer, and administrator. He is president of the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame. He has more than 50 singles and 10 albums to his credit and received 5 awards for top male country performer. Thank you all for being our judges today.
The Variety Village Band, they're from Toronto. Drum major Larry Fullerton, Bill Hughes, the band director, 75 members. And this really is something different. The Variety Village Band comprised of young musicians ranging in age from 12 to about 21, sponsored by the Variety Club, and they boast a rather unique and exciting color guard made up of young wheelchair-bound teenagers. And you see them here in front. The Variety Village does terrific work, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they do with kids right across the country. This band making its 3rd appearance in Kitchener-Waterloo, and you know the song.
Well, I don't know. You know, a lot of the songs I sort of gave different titles to. They sounded, but this one I know this is
When the Saints Go Marching In.
in a big way. 20 feet high. He's making sure he's being seen by all his friends lining the parade route today. This delightful balloon rendition of the official Oktoberfest symbol is sponsored by Brick Brewery, the official premium beer for the 1989 Oktoberfest.
Uncle Hans has his lederhosen on. We've seen lederhosen non-stop in the several days we've been here in Kitchener, despite the temperatures. I guess if you own a pair, you have to wear them. The little leather shorts, the traditional German outfit, the Trot.
The 21st Oktoberfest parade continues on this Thanksgiving Day on the CTV network.
Now, we all know what a calliope is. That's a fruit. It's a melon related to the cantaloupe. This is not a calliope. This is a calliope.
Excuse me, we didn't all know what a calliope was. I've never heard of it. But I do know a calliope.
I was making that part up. The nostalgic sounds of the calliope. This particular machine, built in 1897, has 66 whistles, and it's fired by, well, there's no computer on board this thing. There's no diesel engine. It's fired by coal, wood, and water to create steam. Gord Rieger is operating the calliope, and Ken Weir is playing the keyboard. Ken Thompson is operating the steam engine. He's out front. These vehicles owned by Sid Thompson of Stratford, and it's a sound that cannot be duplicated by anything else.
It is wonderful.
You know, they have to make apparently at least a couple of pit stops along the route. They need more water. Also from Kitchener, another band which is homegrown and the pride of Kitchener-Waterloo, the Kiwanis Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps. Doug Darwin is the band director, 80 members strong, and there's a good chance we might hear another polka from this outfit. Formed back in '71, they travel extensively, and they placed second at both the provincial and Canadian national championships this past year. It's that polka called the beer barrel.
This is the traditional end to the Oktoberfest parade, the Horn of Plenty and the symbol of Thanksgiving. The children on the float are Carrie Ann and Laura McGinnis and Grant and Carolyn Jones, whose parents work on today's Seniors magazine.
From Kitchener-Waterloo, it's the Oktoberfest 1989 Thanksgiving Day Parade on CTV.